Okay, this is our first day on level 3, and I'm sad that I can't be here to help you guys, but we will be doing the same thing on Monday, so save all your questions to Monday, and I'll help you guys out. We'll redo the lesson if we need to. Okay, so there's 4 steps to level 3. So if you see the level 3, it has 2 graphs. The blue one is going to be the original, your parent function, and then the red is going to be the transformation. So we need to find the parent function first. So if we look, we see lines. Well, lines mean that we have, the parent function would be linear. Or f of x equals x. Okay? Either one. Now it says find h, k, and a. So I'm going to pick a point. I'll do a different color just so it makes more sense. So I always start at 0, 0. You always want to start at 0, 0. Then we pick another point on the graph and see where it went. So you first see if it went to the right or to the left. So I'm going to pick, well, that's our easiest one, I think. So it moved to the right 2. So that means that you went 2. Our k would be 0, that didn't change. And then our a would be, so this is the tricky part. The a is your tricky. So I went up 1 over 1, right? Here I went up 2 and over 1. So your a value, it went up 2 instead of 1, so it's going to be your 2. So if we look at our linear functions, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, here it went up 2 over 1. So your a value is going to be 2. It stretched twice as much. So those are my 3 values. Now we're going to punch it in just like we did on level 2s. So I want this should say f prime, and yours does say that. I changed it. So our f prime of x, the original function was x, so now we have a 2. A is 2, so we have a 2, and then it's x minus 2. Because your h is 2, so that turns into x minus 2. And there's no k, so that's all we do. Now, let's double check. Okay? So let's check, let's pick a random point right here. Okay? That point would be -1, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -6. Okay, so I'm going to plug in -1 into my x, and let's see if I can get a -6. So I get 2 times -1 minus 2. -1 minus 2 is -3. And 2 times -3 is -6. So it works. So we always want to double check because it's not, this is getting into tricky stuff here. So we always want to make sure we double check to make sure our equation is correct. Alright, we're going to do another one. So our first, we have to figure out what is our parent function. So our parent function, we see v's. So your parent function is going to be absolute value of x. then we have to figure out our a value, our h value, and our k value. So to figure out your a, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. That never changed, so a didn't change. No change. H, how far did we go left or right? So for our, oh, whoa, what was that? Undo. This is a new website, so I'm still learning, or new updates. There we go. Okay. So we want to go from your starting point to the next starting point. So from the V, the bottom of the V to the top of the V. So we went to the right 2, and we went up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how we got our H and our K. We're doing the opposite now. We look at our graph, and you figure out which one it is. Now we want to plug it into our equation, our new equation. F prime of x, a is 1, so that doesn't change. Our x minus 2 is right by the x, and then we have a plus 4 at the end. Remember, your h's are opposite, so if it's 2, it's going to be x minus 2, and then k's don't change, so k is just plus 4 at the end. So now, to end it all, we are going to double check. So you can pick any point you want. I'm just going to pick this random point right here. So that would be 5 and 7. So I'm going to plug in a 5 in for my x and see if I can get 7. So f prime of 5. So I'm going to put in 5 minus 2. Oops, not a parenthesis. Absolute value plus 4. So it's absolute value of 3, which is 3, plus 4, which would be 7. So it checks out. So that is my final answer right here. I know it's confusing, and we'll get it. It's as level 3, remember, so it is one of our hardest. So I want you to pause and see if you can do this one on your own. The A changes, so if you only got A wrong, that's okay. But I want you to pause it and see if you can do it on your own. Okay, so I figured out my A, H, and K. We looked at our worksheet 120 to figure out, oh, it looks like an S. So that's my cubic root. So it's the cube root of x is my parent function. Now the a is the tricky part, but if I look, I'll do it in green here. My vertical change, I want to look at my vertical change, okay? A changes your vertical, so this is 1 and now it's 3. So to go from 1 to 3, it is going to be a is 3. It's triple as high. Okay, so now my h determines where I start. So let's get rid of some of this here. So if you see from my black dot to my black dot, these ones here, that's my inflection point. So you learned that last year. So your inflection point, you want to see how far did it go to the right and down. So it went to the right 3 and it went down 5. So right means positive 3 and down means negative 5. After you have that, then you plug it into your equation, my cube root. So a is 3, that goes in front of the cube root. Then it's x minus 3, and then minus 5 is at the end. So now the last thing I need to do is just check my work. So I have f prime of 4. I picked 4, negative 2. You could have picked any point. It should work any of the graph, any point on the graph. So that's going to be 4 minus 3, and then minus 5. So I do 4 minus 3, which is 1. Cube root of 1 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3, and then 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And I got my y value. So that checks out. So that is how we do a level 3. So that's what I would like to see on every level 3. Okay, we have one more. Now let's pause it again and do the problem so then you can see if you understand it. So pause it. Okay, so I did the problem. Hopefully you did too. So I found that it's a parabola, so it's an x squared. Then my a didn't change. I went up 1 over 1, so that vertical didn't change. I went to the left 3, so that's negative 3. And I went up 3, so k is positive 3. I plugged all those values into my parent function. And now I just need to find another point to plug all those in. And that would be negative 5, 7. So if I plug in a negative 5, negative 5 plus 3 squared plus 3. So I get negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. So negative 2 squared. Oh shoot. Sorry, bell ring. So now that's negative 2 squared is positive 4 plus 3 gives me 7. And that's what I wanted. So it checks out. If you have any questions, I will answer them all on Monday. Just do your best. At least you can write the parent function down and then attempt your AH and K. That is the minimum that you should do, but I want you to attempt all of it. Okay, I will see you on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend.